And there's my controller. Come on. Way over here. Okay. I believe this auto-saved after jumping down one of the holes as we're entering the prison level. I think the next area is the area with the room full of bugs and the all that fun time. Yeah, because we just dropped down the hole into the well where you got to break the walls to get out. And we don't have a map for this area. This grate right here is reminding me of one of the boss battles in Silent Hill 3, where you're in a similar kind of sewagey area underneath a hospital. If anyone's familiar with the Leonard boss battle from Silent Hill 3, that's what I'm thinking about. Okay. I remember for my first time playing this section in the remake, I'm like, oh, we've got an area that has more than ankle deep water. There's definitely going to be monsters hidden underneath. Oh, come on. James. Well, that was incredible form for the first kill of the night. Yeah, the prison, the historical society, the prison, and the labyrinth are really interesting because they do start to get more into the historical, like the history of Silent Hill, and I particularly like some of the architectural choices that kind of reflect that early American, like Greco-Roman influenced architecture and stuff. Courthouses and other official, like, governmental buildings. But right now, it's just grimy. We've got another one of these holes, but the way that the room is structured, this is one of those moments that I feel like was framed a little bit more obvious. I think it's maybe just the lighting, but like I remember coming to this area. I think it's this hole in the original Silent Hill 2, and it's just like, oh, we are really going into the non-Euclidean geometry realm now, with like gravity shifting the direction of things. Like this basically looks like, oh, we're vertical, but if you were to walk down that plane, it's like a different kind of center of gravity or whatever. But we need something to open that, and it's going to be in this room, and it's not going to be fun getting it because this room is grimy, as so many rooms in Silent Hill are. Oh. And it's just like, oh yeah, there's a key. Just take it. You can't even look at the keypad until you take the key. This also is an example of an area in the game where, like, one of the things I find really interesting about some of the Silent Hill games, or moments in certain Silent Hill games, is that there are times where it feels like the developers are actively mean, and not in a way where I begrudge them it, but it's like they want you to feel miserable doing this, and it's like, I mean, if that's your intention, I think if it was the entire game they were doing that, then it would just be like, okay, come on, guys. But when they have these moments where, specifically from a horror perspective, it's like, you know exactly what's going to happen here, and it's just like they are taunting you, like, with the game design. There are a few other moments like that, I think, in the prison section and in the labyrinth, and I'll try to point them out when we get there. But there are always moments where I'm just like, oh, now you're just being mean, and now my controller's just being mean. Come on. let's not do this right now. Okay. But yeah. It's fine. It's just a key. It's the spiral writing key, which I will examine once we leave this room what it actually says. If I forget to, remind me. But not going to do it right now because everything's bugs now. And you just got to keep doing combos here until you get one that's right. Which is, like, so adventure game logic. Come on. I always do this so badly. Okay, I need to kill something. Yeah. It fucking sucks that it's randomized. Okay, drink some health. Okay, what was that? I'm always like, I should have done this more methodically. 9. Oh, come on! Like, genuinely, they're like, this is not going to be a fun area to play. 9, 2, 3. 9, 3, 2. Okay. 2, 3, 9. Ah. Okay. I think it usually just spawns 3. 2, 9, 3. 3, 2, 9. 3, 9, 2. Come on. What didn't I try? Oh my gosh. Come on. Hit something, James. Or else we're gonna die to fucking bugs. What didn't I do? Haven't I done all the permutations? 2, 3, 9. 2, 9. Come on. 2, 3, 9, 2, 9, 3, 3, 2, 9, 3, 9, 2. There we go. I thought I tried that. Damn it. Damn it, Bobby. Okay. We are leaving that behind. We are drinking a health drink. And we are examining that key. The cylinder is engraved with the text, "'Tis doubt which leadeth thee to purgatory." More religious references. Now that, I feel like you can interpret a few different ways. "'Tis doubt which leadeth thee to purgatory." Doubt in James's mission, or perhaps doubt in what he did. Maybe, or doubt in his own righteousness. Maybe like it's the psychogenic break James starting to realize, wait, am I forgetting things? Am I not as good a dude as I remember? Like anything in this game, I think there are a billion different ways you can interpret it, and it is suitably unnerving. Okay. And of course the spiral. Spiraling downwards. If you're a Magnus Archives fan, the spiral being the representation of like fear of insanity, fear of mental illness, fear of things just being wrong or weird, or fear of lies and deception. Yeah, you got the doors on the side of the wall that are like, oh, that hallway's just structured differently. Amat, yeah. Uh, Silent Hill. I think Spiral is definitely there. Um, I think yeah, like with any of the fears from Magnus Archives, I think there's definitely a bunch of overlap, and a game like this explores a bunch of different types of fear. I think a lot of it depends on the character, but I think a lot of the common ones are like the spiral, the lonely. But yeah, I think it ultimately comes down to the character. Yeah. For those who aren't familiar with Magnus Archives, this is a bit of a spoiler for it, but halfway through the series, you learn that they kind of have come up with this taxonomy for fear where they've split it into like it's either 13 or 14 or 15 fears depending on how you're counting. Um, and each one is associated with like a specific like major symbol or idea and applies to a bunch of different things. And yeah, it's as Amat is saying, it's a podcast. It's highly recommended. It is one of my favorite horror things to have come out in recent history. Um, but yeah, stuff like the spiral, the stranger, the dark, the lonely, corruption, and the flesh. Yeah, that's all stuff that Silent Hill digs into. Um, I think like James's story is probably a combination of the spiral and the lonely as the major ones. Something like Walter Sullivan in Silent Hill 4, I think is a bit more, since it's dealing more with the cult again, I think it's probably partly desolation, partly corruption in particular, uh, especially with like the mother's love sort of stuff. Um, but also like the slaughter with him being a serial killer. Or maybe that would be more the hunt. I don't know. It's we could muse on that for a while, but we have the game in front of us to play, and I've already been doing so much other than play the game. Um, we're about to get a scene with Eddie uh, that is fairly unnerving. I feel like I'm going to be using that word a lot tonight. Mainline menu, March 13th. 1. Grits with lard, boiled meatloaf, beans, bread, and coffee. So it looks like this is the cafeteria for Toluca Prison, and you have some sort of slop or gruel pouring out of that pot there. Everything looks very appetizing. The walls, they ooze green slime and are very rusty. It's at this point where I feel like I think we're pretty much securely in the other world from this point forward for a while. Um, but even if we weren't, like this is still feels like it's accurate to what this prison would look like at this point, since it's from Silent Hill's history, potentially underneath the lake. Um, that's where we fell through. Got an autosave because we're about to get to that scene. I want to make sure we check out this over here. We've got a glimpse of the past, which reminds me I should have my checklist up. Oh, come on. So that I don't miss any of that stuff. Okay. Come on, where are we? Brookhaven, Southvale, Struggles. Okay. Yeah, so we just got that glimpse of the past. Okay, next memo is in. Okay, is in the gun cabinet. Is at the gun cabinet. Okay, so here's all my check boxes for Toluca Prison. Got that up. My notes for the scene coming up. there are a few things I want to talk about beforehand and a few things I want to talk about afterwards. Uh, I was rewatching the scene and I wanted to pick out what track we actually hear on the soundtrack during it. And um, because at first I had thought it was Eddie's Sweet Sorrow, but when I was watching Cleo's playthrough of the theater scene earlier in the game, I realized, oh, that's actually where Eddie's Sweet Sorrow happens, while Eddie is eating ice cream. Eddie's Sweet Sorrow. Um, and when it came to this one, I was watching the scene and I was like, oh, this is kind of one of those more ambient tracks. And how am I ever possibly going to find it in the like many ambient tracks that have names like Arcane Disconsolation and uh, Unearthly Betrayal or something like that? And then there's a track that's just called James Find Eddie in Prison. And I'm like, oh, well, that makes it easy. You'll notice part of the reason I'm not going to be bringing up the piano as much for the music stuff that we're talking about in this section is because we're moving away from any sense of tonality or consonance or home key or like anything that sounds familiar. The game is getting darker, it's getting more disturbing, it's getting more unnerving, and so we're abandoning any idea of key or scales, or if we're using them, it's in a very manipulated way where it's like in contrast with like different things will be contrasting with each other. Akira Yamaoka is really getting into the more like noise and ambience part of the game's soundtrack. Uh, and this track upcoming in particular is pretty sparse in its arrangement. Like there's a drum and there is a something that almost sounds like a chime of some sort. And that's something else that I've noticed throughout like many of the Silent Hill soundtracks is when things start to get darker and more disturbing. Uh, Akira Yamaoka tends to thread in stuff that sounds almost like primitive and tribalistic. I think in some cases he's trying to connect stuff to the town's cult, and in other cases he's just trying to like tap into those kind of like basic instinct things and like on a subliminal level get your mind thinking about like basic instinct, fight or flight, like early times where it was just like survival of the fittest. That again tapping into that almost like primal instinct in a way that is like, oh, we're moving away from the higher, more like enlightened thought, and it's just like, no, we're getting into kill or be killed, survive, that sort of mentality. And I think that's how he reflects that in the music, moving away from traditional harmony and melody and moving away from traditional instruments, well, moving away from contemporary instruments into more primitive or tribalistic sounding instruments. All right. One thing that I want to point out up here, we've got this body at the table, like it's dead. I think even before you get close to it, anyone who's been playing this game long enough is like, that's a dead body. It could be another James corpse. Couple things that I want to point out right at the beginning of the scene are the type of jacket that the corpse is wearing and also the table. This is something I didn't even realize until I was rewatching the scene in the video that you sent me, Cleo. Something that a detail that I hadn't noticed, that I'm sure other people have noticed, but I was like, holy shit. So let's get into it. It's covered in frost with icicles hanging off of it.
Ain't no big deal. just put the gun to their head and...
Eddie?
Oh, hi, James.
What happened here? Who was that?
I don't know. He just came at me.
Okay. So he attacked you. And you shot him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. He made me...
Calm down.
Frame rate.
Why he would do that?
I don't know. Came out of nowhere. Tried to sneak up on me in the dark. Footsteps, so I turned back and he was right there.
Hell, that he wanted to hurt you.
Well, yeah, I mean, the way he looked at me, I just had to do it.
He looked at you? I thought you said he came at you.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it in his eyes.
His eyes?
He kept looking at me, making fun of me. And I told him not to, but he didn't listen.
Eddie, you can't just kill someone because of the way they looked at you.
You should see your face, James. I was just joking. The guy was dead when I got here. I got you, didn't I? Well, anyway.
Anyway.
I better get going.
Wait. You're gonna go out there alone?
Yeah.
There is so much to unpack about that scene, and we're probably not going to hit all of it just in this stream, but yeah, first of all, one of the things I really wanted to highlight, we've had this theme of cold with Eddie, and I don't know how it took me until just watching the scene again this week to realize this table is covered in frost and ice, and the man is wearing what looks to me like a winter jacket, as if he feel it himself. I almost even want to say that the way that it's arranged on the table is like when Eddie shot this guy, because we're pretty sure that Eddie shot this guy. Not only blood sprayed out, but frost. Yeah, and the thing is, I don't even know if Eddie shot this guy. The way that he says, I'm just joking, he could very well just be joking. And this is just, him testing out how okay James is with the idea of Eddie killing someone, since Eddie seems to be progressing in that direction. Yeah, Cleo says, why was he at the table? Did he even know Eddie was there? Yeah, and the fact that it's also in the painting over here, which when I was watching this in your stream, Cleo, I was like, oh, it's almost like the painting reflects the otherworld version of this room. But looking at this room, we're in the otherworld version of this room. This painting just makes it look better lit. But yeah, we just got that dude with the frost on the table. This is literally just, hey, this is the scene you're about to look at. And it's one of those things where it's like, what does that even mean? Or is it just supposed, I'm almost positive it's just there to mess with us. That shouldn't be possible for there to be a painting of of this moment. Unless that dude's been sitting there for a while. Oh my gosh! The fan above the table is also covered in frost. It's also very clearly James in the painting. Yeah, you're probably right, Cleo. Amat says, not for nothing, having heard about Eddie's backstory, this table, bench, and tray setup makes it look a lot like a school lunchroom. That's a good point, too. These details. Fans. It's a double fan with frost on it. And my controller is disrupting the mood. Come on. I gotta get a new controller. My birthday's coming up. I should ask someone to get me a controller. But yeah. Yeah. It looks like a dude with a green jacket and blonde hair in the painting. And here's where, like, talking about these corpses, specifically ones that could have been killed by Eddie, later ones that were almost positive were killed by Eddie. I think this is another situation where it's like, this could be a time loop James, or it could be someone completely unrelated to James that James is seeing as himself, because we're looking at Silent Hill through James's eyes, and it's presenting things to him in a particular way. Again, could be any possible interpretation, could be all of them. That's the beauty of Silent Hill. I still can't get over the frost. Okay, couple other things that I wanted to talk about with that scene in particular is the way that James does, like, particularly like Luke Roberts' portrayal of the character is trying to give Eddie the benefit of the doubt so much. He's like, okay, so this guy came at you, and so you shot him. And then Eddie's just keeps digging his own hole, like, oh, yeah, he looked at me weird, and James, like, he looked at you weird? One line that I find really interesting in the way that he delivers it is, like, Eddie says, yeah, I could see it in his eyes. And the way that the line is written, and I think partly in the way that Luke Roberts performs it, he says, his eyes. Like, he's, like, almost that disbelieving thing. Oh, you could see it in his eyes. Sure. Huh. There's something about the way Luke Roberts delivers it where I almost hear it also as him almost saying, like, his eyes. Like, you could see it in his eyes, not your own. Or, like, I'm seeing it in your eyes now. That may be just me. I think that is me overthinking it or hearing something that wasn't there or intended, but it's also another interesting meaning to add to that conversation. And then the other line I definitely wanted to talk about is the whole, you can't just kill someone because of the way they looked at you, which is almost, like, when you think about it out of context, is a kind of odd line. And it also kind of points towards the reveal about James, where it's like, it would have been very easy for James to just say, you can't just kill someone. Like, that seems very natural for anyone to say. But the specific, blah, blah, blah. Specifically, the fact that he says, you can't just kill someone because of the way they looked at you, almost seems to imply there are plenty of more legitimate reasons to kill a person. Take my wife, for example. Wait. It's one of those subtle ways where it's, if you don't know the end of the story, I think it could potentially come off as an odd line, but also, like, reasonable. Like, it's not something that you disagree with James about. Like, yeah, you can't just kill someone because of the way they looked at you. But it starts to get you thinking about, like, okay, but is there a good reason to kill someone? And that is the question at the core of this game. For some reason, also in my mind, I connect it to that line I've referenced from Silent Hill 3 where Heather says, but, uh, but a paradise created out of hate can't be a perfect paradise or whatever it is. Where it seems less like natural human dialogue and more like, oh, this is directly trying to get at the main themes of the story. And again, I'm not saying that as a criticism at all. I think they are able to naturally flow. It naturally flows into the style of the dialogue and stuff. But it is something peculiar about the writing that I find interesting. And Cleo says, well, and also is there a good reason to kill Eddie? Yeah, you can't just kill someone because of the way they looked at you. But if Eddie's killing people, does that mean is there a good reason to kill him? All right, let me double check and make sure I've explored as much as I can in this room. And then we'll get into the prison proper. Yeah, as always, with any of the stuff we discuss here, I'm really doing my best not to be prescriptive about anything. I think, again, one of the beauties of the storytelling in this game and in a lot of the Silent Hill games is that it leaves a lot of stuff up to the player's interpretation. And not just in a sense of like, oh, it's whatever story you make it out to be, or like, oh, we're trying to be mysterious. But in the sense of, like, with really good literature, it's like, we're not going to tell you how to feel about this. You bring your own baggage to the story, and that shapes how you interpret it. All right. Here we go. 7:48, and we haven't even actually started the proper part of this section. Got rifle rounds. Cleo says, what I sent you after this point was not terribly helpful or intellectual, but I remember this area fondly. Yeah, I enjoyed watching it, Cleo. I will admit that I had it on in the background while I was doing other stuff for a good chunk of it, so all my my best intentions of like, oh, I'll be able to really dig into the details and stuff might not have been as attentive as I should have been, but still enjoyed it. Still really enjoyed watching you get through that shower room section. Like, you took that section like a champ. Toluca Prison. They still haven't found him. Since he had the cabinet key, we should assume one of the prisoners got his hands on it. Get the spare from the visitor's checkpoint and secure the rifle before it falls into the wrong hands. Okay, so like with the hospital section, I want to try and take notes on the things that we find and see if I can draw connections between things that I didn't notice before. They still haven't found him. That could be referring to... so they still haven't found him. Since he had the cabinet key, we should assume one of the prisoners got his hands on it. So I think what this is implying is like one of the guards, whoever was looking after the cabinet, had the key, and if he is dead or missing, then one of the prisoners probably got his hands on the cabinet key. And then get a spare from the visitor's checkpoint and secure the rifle before it falls into the wrong hands. Is like, hey, one of the prisoners probably has the key to the rifle. Let's take it ourselves before whoever got their hands on the key can get to it. Also, in a gameplay sense, it's trying to sell you, hey, if you want the rifle, you got to get to the visitor's checkpoint at some point. Is there anything on the back? No. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if this connects to any particular character that we will learn about in the sections of the prison that we're about to go through. Because I feel like a lot of those stories that we go through are very self-contained. Like, behind the boar door that has its own story, behind the ox door that has its own pretty self-contained story. But as we pay closer attention to the notes, we may discover connections. Like there are specific prisoner numbers referenced in some of the notes, so maybe there are numbers that crop up in multiple places, and I just didn't recognize it because it's a little harder to recognize numbers as opposed to names. But just for the heck of it, I'll write down here. Rifle cabinet key stolen by prisoner, question mark. And the spares in the visitor's checkpoint. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry about this. Let's not do that while I'm streaming. But the visitor's checkpoint. Where do we find the visitor's checkpoint? Okay. So it looks like the visitor's checkpoint they're referring to is in death row. Judging by the question mark that they put on this. And yeah, I think that tracks because you get the death row is the first section that you go to, and you're able to get the rifle after that section. So we can specifically say that this note is connected to the serpent area with the death row map. Okay. And then we've got second floor, which will be behind the ox door, and that's the showers section, or part of it is going to be the showers. I think part of it also is one of the others. The boar section, which has the infirmary, so this is the sick area, the place where it's like people think there's a sickness outbreak, doctors aren't seeing anything. Is there actually a sickness, or is it mass hysteria? And then finally, so this is still part of the boar section. Yeah, the warden's office above the infirmary and stuff. And then finally we have the dove area, the wingless dove, which I believe is like I don't know if solitary confinement is the right word, but there are a few cells in this area that are much more like heavy duty than the ones that you see in the main part of the prison. That was another thing I picked up on watching your video, Cleo, is that like each of the animals, I'm sure that you have already started like diving deep into research on this stuff, but each of the animals, or you plan on it once you reach this part in your playthrough, what do each of the animals represent, and why are each of them missing something? Because it's like the wingless dove, the wingless dove, the hornless ox, the eyeless boar, and the headless serpent. And what do those animals represent, and what are those parts of them that they have lost represent? Like a serpent without its head. Is that kind of like that old metaphor, the whole cut the fish's head off or whatever? And then, yeah, there's the Hebrew on each animal's door. Yeah, there's something about the animal selection that feels like it might be connected to like stuff from Judaism or ancient Israel or something like that. Like you could talk about like the dove, it could be a connection to Noah's Ark. I mean, all the animals could be a connection to Noah's Ark. Ox could be the probably not the fattened calf necessarily. Serpent in the garden. And then what was the last one? The boar. Why do I feel like there's some Bible story that involves a boar? I don't know. Lots to speculate on. I haven't put in all the research myself because I'm counting on Cleo. um, not to put undue pressure on you, Cleo. But yeah, I'm the music in Silent Hill lore guy. That's such a cop-out. I'm sorry. Wait, was there another note on the table over here? No, it's just set dressing. I've been using these top 4, right? Yeah. Let's go here. Cleo says, oh, it's a point of honor for me to find out what those mean. Oh my gosh. This controller situation is just a nightmare. So, before we get into any of the stuff, I think this door is probably... Wait, hold on. Locked, because it's the exit point for, I want to say, the sick area, which is the boar. See, you sending those videos, Cleo, is very helpful because now I have that stuff fresh in my memory, and I don't have to keep checking the map every time I'm trying to remember, oh, which place is which one had which animal head. Ah, geez. So, we've got a chapel area. This looks like a confessional of some sort. A brutal-looking confessional, where you have to kneel on fucking, like, metal nails almost. I don't know what specifically that would be referred to as. I know it's like an old-school torture device. What was that shit, by the way? Oh, the sound? Oh yeah, I definitely want to talk about the sound design in this area. Maybe we'll hear that sound again, and I'll be able to focus on it more closely. But yeah, so there's so much sound design in this section of the game that's just like, oh, they're just fucking with you. They're really just fucking with you. But yeah, this speaks to punishment. The themes of punishment in the game, like even when you're trying to confess and get forgiveness, it's torture. It's got to be a confessional, right? The raised Catholic in me is saying it's got to be a confessional. The confessional torture. Yeah, I think. I'm wondering if that's got to be based on something from history. And yeah, it's like got these like things to screw them down. See, I also initially thought that these straps were for hands and those ones for the legs. That's probably it. But then part of me just thought, like, what if that's for the head? And like the thing that here is supposed to like come down on the head, it'll screw down. I don't know. Yeah, that one is probably one to look up, like torture devices from, I don't know, the Spanish Inquisition, which I think even you called out. This painting kind of has Spanish Inquisition vibes, Cleo. Yeah. Let me scroll back up really quick, and because I think there was some stuff in the chat that I missed. Oh yeah, Amat said, not exactly a boar, but Jesus does exorcise a dude of Legion, a demon with many minds, and puts Legion instead into a herd of pigs, which then rush into the sea and drown. Oh yeah. And Cleo said, oh, I was wondering if boar might show up in the text as pig. And then, yeah, it definitely looks like a confessional, but A, not secret, and B, torture and bindings. What the hell? Yeah, that's the thing that's weird, is like, confessionals are typically, like, you have the area to kneel, but there's usually, like, a door or a curtain that closes you off from the outside world and allows you to speak to the priest in private. This almost seems to suggest, like, not only must you be penitent, but you must be tortured, and it must be on display for anyone to see. And yeah, it's yeah. I think there are definitely a lot of ways that can dovetail into the way James subliminally feels about what he did and how he feels he needs to be punished. Yeah, Spanish Inquisition vibes. Cleo said, James just like, okay, yeah, but have you seen my wife though? Then we've got barbed wire threaded through the pews, which themselves have straps for, again, I'm assuming hands and feet, or actually this looks more like torso and ankles. Doesn't look quite as torturesome, but yeah, I don't think we're completing the prison tonight, and I'm fine with that. This whole area also reminds me a little bit of Silent Hill Homecoming, because there is a section of that game that takes place in a church that itself was somewhat inspired by the church featured in the Silent Hill movie from 2006. But yeah, the barbed wire, particularly going through everything, it gives me vibes of the church from Silent Hill Homecoming. Chain gang church, yikes. Yeah, Mott. We've got white tarp pulled up over an area. We've got, assume where the priest stays, the priest's room. Something got destroyed in here. We've got a cross on the ground. Either someone got pissed off at the priest, maybe, or maybe the priest got pissed off at someone. We've got, I assume this is meant to be a statue to the Holy Mother, Mary. Again, the Catholic in me. We got the chandelier. We got another cross on the desk. And the candelabra. Most of the crosses that you see in this game, I think I've talked about this before, I'm going to refer to specifically as crosses rather than crucifixes, because if I remember correctly, and I learned this years and years ago, so who knows if I learned it properly or my child brain misinterpreted it. Cross is any sort of cross-shaped iconography. Crucifix is specifically Jesus on the cross, which itself is in some ways a symbol of torture, but perhaps the developers did not want to bring Jesus too much into the mix. We've also got a rosary here on the desk. Rosary being, for anyone who wasn't raised Catholic or religious, rosary is a way to keep track of prayers or to pray in a kind of structured way. You have the cross at the bottom of the rosary. And you've got like this looks accurate. You've got the way that the beads are split up specifically represents different things. Between the cross and the medallion piece, which is typically of, again, the Holy Mother Mary, you have 5 beads, and it's usually separated as 1 bead, then 3 beads, and then 1 bead. The single beads always represent praying the Our Father. The groups of beads always represent praying the Hail Mary, prayer to Mary to intercess and like pray for us sinners, all that sort of thing. Cleo says, if a riot happened, I imagine they went after Father Torture in there. That is a fair guess, especially I think once we read what's in his journal here. He doesn't seem like a kind guy. And you are correct about crucifixes. I'm not Catholic, just a vampire enthusiast. Yes. So much of vampire lore ties into Catholicism, particularly because of Bram Stoker, the Irish Catholic that he was. Quick side story. My dad forwarded me an article he read that was like he follows Christian blogger or something like that, and the guy was talking about like the heavy Catholic themes or Christian themes in Dracula, and my dad had forwarded this link to me, this blog post to me, with just the comment, "I never knew." And me, having read Dracula multiple times and listened to Read Dracula, the podcast, which is fantastic, and maybe my favorite interpretation of the text, and also still being like a self-identified Christian, I was just like, Dad, you gotta read Dracula. I'm getting you a copy for Father's Day. And so I would show it on screen. I don't think there's any chance that he's gonna watch this stream before I give it to him. Like, he knows I'm giving it to him, but he doesn't know what edition. But I got a nice leather-bound version, a hardcover version of it from Barnes & Noble. But yeah, I don't need to show that off. We were talking about the rosary. Yeah, so the rosary, between the cross and the Mary medallion, you've got an Our Father, 3 Hail Marys, and an Our Father. And then the rest of the more like necklacey part of the rosary is it 5 decades? Yeah, I think it's they're called decades because it's 10 Hail Marys, an Our Father, and I think it's just referred to as a Glory be to the Father and to the Son, yeah, all that stuff. And the idea is that you pray a sequence of the Our Father, the Hail Mary, and the Glory be 5 times around that course of the rosary. And it's just a way to like do prayers and in a very structured way. Amant says, I have so much curiosity about the vibe of forced Christianity, given how important the Order sounds like it is to Silent Hill. Is this actually remnants of Order rituals and they subvert Christian symbols? Or were the bosses at Toluca culturally opposed to the Order? So, if we're getting deep into Silent Hill lore, I think there are a few different ways to think about that. The thing that immediately comes to mind for me, which I think I've talked about in a previous stream, is there is a section of Silent Hill 3 where you're going through like a chapel, an otherworld version of a chapel. So it's as gnarly as you would think it is. But there is a section in there, I can't remember if it's in the library or in like a worship chamber, that you find a book that has a passage about how like the religion that the Order believes in existed in Silent Hill before Europeans came in. And then when Europeans came in and started worshiping it, it kind of got commingled with the Europeans' Christian beliefs. And I've cited that before because I think it's like a really cool detail of verisimilitude in the context of a story like Silent Hill, where it's like, no, that happened with religions in the Americas, and so it's cool to see that reflected in a fictional religion. Yeah, Cleo asked, which is another good point, honestly, like how much is the Order built off Christianity? Were Christians trying to forcibly convert the Orderers? Yeah, I think it is this commingling of Christianity and the Order, where finding out where that line is drawn is purposely blurry, because, and not in a way where they're trying to pull one over on the player, or like it's significant and like, oh, there's something really important to learn there. I think it's more, again, just a realism thing, where like thinking about the history of America and Europeans coming to America and how that affected the native religions of the Americas, or how that affected any religion that Christians came upon, and colonialism and all that sort of stuff. Missions. Words are escaping me right now. But yeah, I think a lot of the Christian iconography in this game in particular suggests to me, like, I think there is an element of reality there. Like, I think there was probably a like vein of Christianity in Silent Hill, the same way there is in any New England American town. I also think because we don't just see it in this sort of context, because we see stuff like Bible verses scrawled on the walls in like the Otherworld and stuff, or like specific Bibles in the Hotel Otherworld that have like the entire page scratched out except for one passage. I think James is probably either Christian himself or was raised in a Christian environment, and so a lot of his sense of guilt and self-punishment comes from potentially his own belief system that he either currently believes in or was raised in. I think there's overlap there between what is specific to James and what is just the town. Yeah, let's look and see what the priest has to say here. The prisoners do not feel remorse. In fact, they do not feel themselves to be sinful at all. This is interesting that this is crossed out. Even was he about to say even I, or even, why did he cross it out and start over? Did it not look nice enough? Even the simplest of them will try to shield themselves from the Lord's gaze with what little words they know. And so they dream blissfully, bliss ending, the sinners that they are. For no matter how foul and loathsome one's existence may be, human nature abides. Crossed out word looks to me like accept. It could be accept. I think it is even the, like, he started writing it, then crossed it out, and then wrote it anyway. Also, it looks like the text is kind of like, if I go to mouse, can I mouse over any of the stuff here? Nah, it's not going to bring up my mouse. Okay. Yeah, even I, or even like he was starting to write a T and then crossed it out. But you can also see the text that's on the page reflected on, like, and faded in the background of the page, at least on the left-hand page. Like, if you look right underneath feel themselves and to be sinful at all, you can see in reverse the whole sinners, the sinners that they are. Yeah, for some reason the bottom section is up underneath the top reflected, and then lower down you also see the even the simplest of them section. Like, you see the E right next to they dream blissfully, and that's just curious. Maybe they just wanted to convey that, like, you can kind of see through the page and see what's written on the other side of the left-hand page. Read does not show any of the crossed out words. It just goes straight from to be sinful at all to even the simplest of them. Yeah. Tonight's session may not be the most action-packed, but I'm enjoying just kind of sitting with this stuff and digging into it. This is half the reason I wanted to do this playthrough, was to take the time to look at stuff like this. Yeah, I don't know that the reversal of the text is significant at all. I think it was mainly just they wanted it to look like, oh, there's text written on the previous page because this is the latest part of his journal. And they just reused the text here. Maybe a little lazy. It's fine. I don't blame them. Like, the original Silent Hill 2, Mary's letter to Laura has, like, when you pull it up, it, like, shows you just, like, the text on the screen like this. But if you take that text away, someone, like, removed the text and was able to look at the image source file, and it's the lyrics to, like, I'm pretty sure it's Bon Jovi, Living on a Prayer. They just needed some text back there to show, like, hey, this is a memo with words on it. They're not going to be reading it because the text will actually be displayed in, like, a font over it. But yeah. And what special significance does Bon Jovi's Living on a Prayer? No, it's it's just the developers had to throw something on there, and that's what they did. Like so many things in these games, particularly because I know that there's the drawer. I'll get to it. Particularly because so much of it is kind of influenced by Freudian psychology and stuff, or Jungian psychology. There are plenty of situations where it's like sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. And there's nothing in that drawer. Why would they? Nah. It's funny, Cleo, because we talk about how, like, oh, well, there are plenty of empty drawers, and it's like, oh, well, it's because they're like on easier difficulties, there will be stuff in there. And it's like, you've been playing the easy difficulty, and there's still have been plenty of drawers and cabinets that have had nothing in them. So I don't know if it's randomized, and so, like, sometimes there will be stuff in a cabinet and not in another, and then it'll swap them depending on the playthrough, or maybe they just want you to experience disappointment at every turn. Yeah, so here we get our first bit of action. Anytime, as always, anytime you pick up an item, shit happens. Is there anything else I wanted to look at in here before I do that? Up there we can see a little balcony area that we will actually be on once we get to the sick area, the bore area. Cleo says, I really think it turned out that it's standardized. IGN has told me exactly where everything is. Yeah. It felt like it was standardized, so yeah, they just purposely left a bunch of empty stuff so that you're not getting something every time. There's a little bit of mystery, which, okay, whatever. The heaviest weight, which I feel like there is significance to, one, this being the first weight that you find, and two, it being called the heaviest weight. Like, James is carrying the heaviest weight. And again, it doesn't have to be super deep, but I think it's an example of where they look at every detail in the game and think, how can we use this as an opportunity to convey the themes of the game, suggest something, and it doesn't have to be any deeper than yeah, James is carrying a heavy weight, and the first one that he picks up here is the heaviest weight. I've got so much ammo, I think I'm just going to pick these off from a distance. Okay. I know there's a second one somewhere. It may not spawn until I move away from the altar. That sounds like something they do. Like maybe it'll pop out of the priest's room or something. This one looks like it might have come out of the confessional. Is there a second one? Maybe I'm talking out of my ass. I guess not. Yep, I'm talking out of my ass. And what was that? What could that have been? That sound. The prison in particular, it feels like they went out of their way to include all of the creepiest, spookiest sounds, and I can't fault them for that. It's effective. Okay. So now we gotta get to the actual main part of the prison. Yeah, we're not completing the prison tonight. I think I am gonna go to 10 o'clock, and then maybe, depending on where we are at that point, I will play June 28th, or whenever it is, and then just stop that stream before we get to the labyrinth. I gotta do this, because it's such a good little... Oh man, the skittering. It's so brutal. This is where the mannequins get, like, so fucking... They were already the creature that sort of probably, like, puts you on edge the most. And then they just intensified it for the prison section, where they climb on walls now like spiders. And that's just great. Okay. So I know we can't get into any of the animal doors yet. I'm gonna take a page out of Cleo's book and not bother with the lights if I don't need to. Oh, damn it. Oh, it's just like projectile shot. Come on. Jeez. I've been watching you play, Cleo, where they only take like 2 or 3 shots. I gotta remember that I'm playing on medium. Oh, they're on the walls now. Love that for us. Yes, they are. So yeah, this door is locked. Okay. Really quick, I am going to turn on my ceiling fan because it is getting warm in here. And my controller's probably going to get pissed off about it, but oh well. There we go. Okay, we're back. Hopefully that doesn't create any bad background noise or anything. But yeah, we're getting into summer, and I did replace my AC, and it is definitely way cooler in here than it would be if I hadn't. But also need to just circulate the air a bit because I'm got my door closed in my office, and it's not a big room. Cleo says, I feel like you're made to feel like you should turn on the lights and you're basically panicking yourself. Yeah, I think we talked about this in email before, Cleo. I think it's very much like a false resource where it's like, oh, thank goodness I can bring up the lights. Oh, but it's only for short periods of time. Well, I'll take what I can get, and then end up just making the game scarier. Kind of like with the radio. The radio feels like a resource, but oftentimes it just makes you more scared, like wondering, okay, why is the radio going off? What are you looking at, James? Oh, you're still looking at the light. So we're gonna explore the main cell block first. And then we'll go to the courtyard, or the yard. Everybody in here. Do our Clarice Starling check your corners. got a bucket and a faucet. That's not great. Mattress on the ground. Cleo recently posted a very amusing clip of the creature that we hear right now. And maybe I'll get a similar reaction. Yeah, this is that lying figure that kept gurgling at you. Send this one. Yeah. That was a really funny clip, Cleo. Looks like it's eating, but I'll just double tap it for good measure. Okay, so we got the second of the glimpses of the past. So these tiles, these kind of, I don't want to misspeak, but like Aztec-y looking tiles, they were part of a puzzle in the original game that I imagine they changed so that they wouldn't have weird potential religious or cultural implications, but they included them as glimpses, so whatever. We've got more Christian imagery here. We've got, I want to say that's meant to be Mary. It is a very dark veil that she is wearing. Then we've got Jesus on the cross. I can't quite make that out. And then we've got, I want to say that Jesus meets his mother. I'm assuming that these ones to either side are potentially Stations of the Cross. Stations of the Cross being the 14 stations, 14 moments that I don't know if it's specific to Catholicism or to Christianity in general, but there's supposed to be various moments that Jesus went through on his way to being crucified. So like Jesus picks up his cross, Jesus meets his mother, Jesus falls the first time, all that stuff. Okay, do we have anyone in here? Okay. Got another, yeah, just... The wiki, Cleo says, the wiki has actually identified the Aztec deities in the tiles, and yeah, I'm kind of glad they did something different this time. Yeah, that makes sense to me as to why they would change it. Okay, I've kind of just been trying to follow the trail they've been leading. Let's go back to A8, see if I missed anything there. That is also blocked off. Okay. That one we'll break into from the other side. Break on through to the other side. The Doors are one of those bands that I feel like I should really, really like on paper. Like, they're very keyboard heavy. They've got some like spookiness going on in their lyrics. And Jim Morrison's crooning is kind of haunting in certain ways. But for whatever reason, I've just never done a deep dive on the Doors. Maybe I should do that sometime. Got a note here. The cell is to be cleaned up by Tuesday. Make sure you get the cons to do it by then. The previous tenant has been moved to death row as per the warden's order. Okay, we've got another death row note. So, what cell is this? This is cell... oh, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, I've been so good about not accidentally hitting the health drink button instead of the... oh, we've got... sounds like a mannequin or something. Creeping. This is cell A6. So, A6 prisoner moved to death row. Which again is the first place we're going to be going, so that tracks. What is, like, unfurling and writhing in the distance? A question you could ask at many points in this game. So yeah, the cell is to be cleaned up by Tuesday. Make sure you get the cons to do it by then. Previous tenant has been moved to death row as per the warden's order. So if I remember correctly, we're going to get some environmental details that will probably tell us something about this prisoner. Maybe. Or maybe not. Maybe it's a different cell that I'm thinking of. Or maybe they already cleaned it up. Yeah. We do get more about the death row prisoner that's at the center of these stories. I think we get to see, like, a picture of him as a child, or... Amat asked, does the warden make the decision on who gets the death penalty? And Cleo shrugs. Yeah, I don't know about that. It's also, yeah, as per the warden, I guess so, as per the warden's order. Or maybe he was given a directive like, hey, this person's going to death row, so I don't know. Potentially. It's also kind of ambiguous what year this prison was active in, because we know, like, it was started. Oh, that's mannequins skittering around somewhere. We know that this prison started, I think, in the Civil War. But we don't necessarily know. So yeah, this is where we're going to be going. Death row. How long it was open. I don't know if we read anything anywhere that lets us know that detail. But this feels like it at least existed into, like, the 20th century. For all we know, it's still an active prison, and we're just in the otherworld version of it, so everything looks old and decrepit. Where are you? Come on. The sound design. Okay, yeah, this is where we break through the wall. Before I do that, let me check the beds for anything. Okay. Anybody in here? Oh! Caught you out of the corner of my eye. When I was a child, I caught a fleeting glimpse out of the corner of my eye. I see you. Anybody else in here? Wiki says 1862 and closed in the early 1900s. Thank you for that, Cleo. Yeah, so... yeah, early 1900s, so... interesting. Yeah, I guess it does kind of give turn of the century vibes in certain ways. That adds a whole nother layer to the, like, infirmary section with the sickness, where it's like, okay, they're not only could it be mass hysteria, but they're also operating on, like, early 1900s medicine. So how does that affect their interpretation of events or what they're able to find? More from the wiki. Possibly closed in the early 1900s, possibly due to flooding. Pointed look at James. Yep. Anytime they can get some more of that water stuff in there, they're going to take the opportunity. Okay. I think we've explored all of the cells here on this level. I'll check out the doors just so that we get them written on the map. So this is the eyeless boar. This leads to the infirmary, I'm pretty sure. Mott says, in fairness to James, when you build a prison underground literally next to a lake, you get what the water table gives you. Fair enough. Again, because of the abstract way that we get here, jumping through holes and stuff, I can't say for certain where Toluca Prison actually is supposed to be in Silent Hill. If it's on a city map somewhere, a town map, I don't remember seeing it. Okay, so we've got the boar. We've got the ox. I think this is meant to be, yeah, the hornless ox, because the horns have been destroyed. Cleo says, 1, center of the earth. 2, ghost prison. Yep, no, all that tracks. We've got, I think this is where the wingless dove door is. Oh wait, did I not? No, that's just the note. Oh, you know that. Yeah, and this is the serpent. The headless serpent. Write that shit down, James. Thank you. You're such a good note taker. And then dove is to the right. Okay, yeah. Then a little bit of mood lighting. Yeah, and this looks like a fucking cavern. It's areas like this that make me think of Amnesia: The Dark Descent, which takes place in like an old castle. And yeah, we got the wingless dove. Okay. I think we've explored just about everything we can before going to the yard. So let's go to the yard now. Also, Cleo, I think you might have said it in your video or maybe in our email, like, we already know that the creatures are drawn to light. So yeah, turning the lights on is just going to agitate them and make them move around because the light changes and they want to do stuff with the light. That was a weird way to phrase that. I apologize. Okay. And there's the gallop. That gallop was in the original game, and it's another thing that's literally just there to creep you out. Another more subtle way where I feel like the developers are kind of mean in certain ways. It's like, there's not even anything there. It's just a sound. Got our next puzzle, which is essentially just a fancy unlocking device. We've got the heaviest weight. And placing the weight on these different scales will allow us to get into different areas. Cleo says something about horses may have been used to draw and quarter prisoners. That makes sense. So we're going to death row. But before we do that, let's explore the rest of the yard. It's funny because people will often talk about like claustrophobic areas in these games or in horror in general and how frightening they can be, like the narrow hallways of the hospital or like stuff like that. In a lot of these games, some of the scariest areas are the ones that are wide open spaces. It's just like a big room like this that is too large for your flashlight to reach the ends of, doesn't have any source of lighting, and you're just wondering what could be out there in the darkness. Ghost horses. Gorses. Thanks, Cleo, I hate it. But also, you hear a galloping sound elsewhere, and it turns out that it's the spider mannequins running by. Yeah, I'm not saying this is agoraphobia inducing, in my opinion. Yeah, like this particular space, because it is, yeah, this this kind of wide open space. And you just don't know what's out there. Got an area to put a lever that will unlock the next puzzle we have to do after the scales and going through all the areas. Vast coded. Magnus Archives reference gun. Yeah, definitely. And dark, potentially. What could be lurking in the dark? Pull ye but once on a rope's frayed end. Choose the one justified from among the damned. Seek out their tales. Think upon each sin. Or let blind fate choose. Let the judgment begin. So this is for later. Once we get the lever and pull that, we'll get a bunch of different poems that convey different stories of different inmates. And you've got to pick which one you think is most justified in what they did. Again, tying into those themes of like what justifies killing someone. Eddie, you can't just kill someone because of the way they looked at you. But is there a justification? And we don't see him yet, but the nooses will be dropping from those archways. Is there another tile in here? Actually, before I go into the serpent section, let me check my checklist again. Make sure I've hit stuff. Got the gun cabinet notice. I examined the shrine on the wall, which had one of the Aztec tiles. Okay. Next memo is in the serpent door. Okay. And there's a strange photo in one of the cells. And that's all the stuff that's in the serpent area. Okay. Okay. Let's leave this large unknowable space, which I think is supposed to be outdoors. It is the yard, and you can see like the top of the walls if you get close enough to them. Yeah, this is rough. This is not happy fun times. Okay. Oh my gosh. I'm just completely lost. Yeah, I just want to make sure that I explore all the edges. So that we can at least get a sense of the bounds of the space. And I forgot to bring the stream back up so that I can see what people are saying. Okay. Oh, bas relief of Pyramid Head. Yep. So that's how it's pronounced. Bas relief, bas relief. I was that classic child who read lots of books and learned lots of words, but did not know how they were pronounced until much later in life. And so sometimes said words that I learned from books aloud in completely the wrong way upon first usage. The funniest one I always think back on is, I feel like I might have even talked about this on a stream at one point. There's a scene from one of the early Animorphs books that said, "Kill it immediately." But when I saw the word immediately, I pronounced it in my head as immediately. We have a reader's vocabulary. It's fine. Yeah. I know that is not an uncommon experience for people. Serpent. That's where we're going. Is there a room over here that we can get into? What is that little space? And why is there no door to it? Classic adventure game thing where the map shows you a place you should be able to go or think you might be able to go, and you're never gonna get there. Is this yeah, this is to the secret door. Some people have a speaker's vocabulary and can't spell love and light on planet Earth. Into death row. And right off the bat, we get a very haunting image of the electric chair. Got a phone off its handle. Again, I really don't mind taking my time with the prison because I think there's a lot of cool environmental details that tell so much story. Oh, I saw you back in the background there, mannequin. I know you're in there. I'm reloading. And they went out of their way to make sure you can't see the ceiling. Ah. Ah. Okay. So we're gonna at least get done with death row. We may also get through the second section before 10 o'clock. Excuse me. I mean, we gotta do the jump scare here. Oh, maybe that's this one. There's one of these where, like, you flip the light on and a mannequin very blatantly spiders across it, but maybe that's more of a randomized thing. Note. A reminder to all guards, effective immediately, it is absolutely mandatory for everyone to familiarize themselves with the revised generator maintenance manual. We all remember what happened the last time there was a spike, though I'm certain most of us would very much want to forget. We will not have another incident. I think on a gameplay level, this is just telling us that, like, oh, the generator is the thing that we're gonna have to mess with, and it's kind of goosing the tension a little bit there. In terms of the overall story, we all remember what happened last time there was a spike. I shudder to think what happened. Perhaps someone's electrocution fried them a little bit more toasty than they expected. I think of stuff like this, and I just think of that awful execution scene in fucking The Green Mile. It's just brutal. I think it's The Green Mile I'm thinking of. Yeah. Where are you? Aha! Are you gonna jump at me? You're gonna jump at me? Oh, you're getting... Ah, come on. Come on. Ah, crap. There you are. Ah, damn it. Ah. Come on. Oh, did I get you? Ha! Ah! Alright. I think this is locked. Yes, this is locked. I don't think it gets unlocked until after we solve that electric chair puzzle. Oh, hey there. Yeah, and that's also goosing the tension of, like, oh, the doors are closed now, but eventually they're going to open, so we're letting you know what's about to happen. What you're about to release. And there is someone skittering on the ceiling again, and I want to take them out. Holy shit, that jump. Well, that was horrifying. Yep. And it's not going to get any less with the more that these things jump around. Like, it is genuinely... It is genuinely unnerving in a way that I appreciate so much. Like, I play a horror game for many reasons, but there's, at the basic level, like, with any horror thing, you want to be scared a little bit, and I love that they escalate what can be done with the mannequins in this section, where before it was like they were hiding behind stuff, but by the end of the hospital, you're starting to get used to it, and then you get here and it's like, oh, and now they fucking climb on the walls. Damn it. Cleo says, they tend to just fall on my head. Yeah. Not really better, Cleo. Possibly worse. Definitely less time to react usefully, yeah. And they move so fast, like, I can't really lead them with my target reticle. Okay. So, here we get a little bit more about the death row inmate that I'm pretty sure the previous note was supposed to be about and what a future note will be about. So we've got a kid in a wheelchair and either his mother or grandmother pushing him. I think we might learn that on the opposite side. And their eyes have been crossed out because, again, eyes, the windows of the soul, and in Silent Hill, unless you are a living, breathing human being, you are not allowed to have eyes. And sometimes even then. We will be together soon. Again, these little bits of humanity that they thread in as all this horrifying stuff is happening. And it's called Family Photo, so yeah, it's definitely some relative. L2 zoom. Got a lot of fingerprints on it too. And yeah, it does look turn of the century, like early 1900s style photograph and wheelchair. Got a busted light. Where are you? Yeah, all these doors are going to open up. Doesn't look like there's anything in here. There you are. Ah, damn it. I shouldn't have moved. Gotcha. Another one somewhere. Yeah, so the woman in the... Cleo says, so the woman in the photo is dead. Together soon. Is the inmate here for killing her? No evidence either way, but that is an interesting thought. Plot economy. Okay, we've seen this before. This is the whiteboard that we saw when we first entered the Toluca Prison section, where it's like number of inmates, number of employees, and I'm sure the numbers are not balanced correctly. Let's give it a poll just to see what happens. So that is useful for trying to track, like, the creatures in this area. Sometimes. We're now getting to the other side of the electric chair room. This is also where we've got that question mark where the key to the rifle cabinet should be. So, I'm not a mimic. We are taking our 15-minute break. How's the night going, man? Going pretty well. We're taking the prison slowly because there's a lot of detail to the stories being told here, and kind of like with the hospital, I want to make sure that I'm getting all of the story. Right now we're in death row, and we have a prisoner who was moved here from the main floor, and we found a family photo that seemed to show a child in a wheelchair and maybe his grandmother, maybe his mother pushing the chair. I was just thinking about the fact that this is where we find the key for the rifle cabinet. I wonder if this guy, like, somehow this guy in the wheelchair was involved in that, and that was why he was moved to death row. But him being in a wheelchair kind of throws a wrench in that. I feel like it wouldn't be easy to, like, spirit someone away in whatever fashion, and then I don't know. How's your game going? You guys getting all the loot, killing all the monsters, righting all the wrongs, or wronging all the rights if you're playing an evil campaign? Aha. Got it. You know, it's useful to have 274 bullets. Yeah, I hear you, lying figure. I'll get to you. There's another spider mannequin. Gotcha. OMG, yes, we are getting all the loot. My character background flaw is that he covets shiny items. LMAO, no joke. Great. Awesome. Spot on. Ooh, there's a health drink in there. Tantalizing. Yeah, I don't think any of these are going to be unlocked until we hit the switch and release everything. Well, there's a fun klaxon going off the whole time. I feel like you are here right now just to distract from all the mannequins that are running around. Oh, come on. Now who's skittering about? Yeah, they are the worst. I feel like I'm just hearing noises at this point. I'm not seeing movement. I may need to move on. Jeez. Okay, I'm going into this room. The Silent Hill F1s looked horrifying from the trailer. Oh, yeah, you know, I hate those in dolls. Yeah, one of the creatures. There are a few gnarly looking creatures. There was the like multi-jointed kind of mannequin looking one, and then there are the scarecrow ones. Just awful. Absolutely awful. And by that I mean like good creature design. Because they make me feel awful and disturbed. Okay. go into the witness room. Okay, that's next area. Oh, that is the witness room. And then the death chamber. Okay. So let's go this way. An office. Yeah, this is probably not going to unlock until we go through the death chamber. This is just blocked off. Okay. Must do my due diligence. So yeah, the witness room, the observation chamber, as it were. Someone on the Silent Hill Reddit today was asking about music that had Silent Hill vibes. And one of the things I mentioned in that topic was Radical Face, who is like uses a lot more acoustic guitar and is a bit folksier than Akira Yamaoka. But a lot of the atmospheres he creates give me Silent Hill vibes. A lot of his storytelling gives me Silent Hill vibes in terms of like the human stories. And the kind of like magical realism style of it. And there are a few songs in particular that have like that drum machine or like very specific drum pattern combined with piano and stuff that gives me Silent Hill vibes. And one of them that I'm thinking of right now is a song called The Gilded Hand off of Radical Face's Family Tree Volume 2, The Branches. And I'm thinking of it specifically because there was an episode of Criminal Minds, I think, that ended with an execution scene, and they played that song over it, and it was very effective. And then I can't remember if it was like that same week, either before or after that episode aired, or like a week before or a week after, Bones had a closing scene to an episode. It wasn't a death row scene, but it used that same song, and I was like, that's a funny coincidence. I'm glad Radical Face is getting work, at least. I'm glad he's getting paid. I think that same television season, Elementary used another Radical Face song called The Crooked Kind for an episode about Moriarty that was like such an effective use of that song. Radical Face. If you've never listened to Radical Face before, highly recommend it. It's got this folksy, atmospheric vibe, and the lyrics are very rooted in storytelling and incredibly heartbreaking in the way that I love. So, safety instructions. Power transfer levels. Green, maintenance level, used to test before each use. Yellow, optimal level, maintained for safe operation. Red, danger level, do not operate, can result in power spike and system overload. And that's what we need to do to get through the rest of the section. And it is a classic levers and buttons puzzle where we're trying to get that needle over into the red to overload the system, and different switches make different things happen. Looks like these ones go up, that one pushes that one down, that one pushes that one down. Hold on. We're in the yellow. Okay, that one affects that one. Jumping back in, have fun with it. Thanks for hopping in, man. Have a good rest of your session. well, damn it. Oh, that's right. And the monkey flips the switch. And get used to that klaxon, because we're going to hear it for a while. And we've got a wheelchair. So, looks like the last person that was executed in here was the wheelchair guy. Or, maybe not the last person, but the wheelchair guy was executed in here. And the medium weight, covered in blood. Now, there should be a note related to this. It's probably in the next room over. Like once we get through to the witness checkpoint. Definitely don't want to miss that note. And the creatures have all been released. Oh, give it a rest. Oh, come on. Damn it. Should've just kept shooting. Not far enough away. Hopefully. Oh, that dude's still trapped in his cell. Poor guy. Yeah, now the lights don't even work, so if you were relying on them before, that has been taken away as a resource. But now, we also get to explore all those cells that just opened. Hello. See you. Well, I guess you can kind of see which ones were locked before. I mean, most of them were locked. It's probably just good to go through all of them. Did I go in here already? Okay, then here. Go across the hall. Got a health drink. Oh. Nope. James, reload. Faster, James. Ah, crap. Oh, there you go. Someone on the other side of the wall. Sounds great. Can't wait. What you're hearing right now is a classic Akira Yamaoka technique of just throwing harsh noises into your ears, and making something that is intentionally grating. Got a little bit of a sound of something that sounds like he just slammed it, hands on the synthesizer. Oh, come on. I am blowing through health drinks. Okay, I heard another squeal of some sort. Here. Aha. Okay. So that lets us into the other side. right, that's the dead one. Before. Oh, jeez. Right in front of the face. Oh, come on. Come on. Ah, jeez. Okay, I know there's a skittering mannequin around here somewhere. Let's get into the next cell. Fight me in the inside. Oh, there's a armless. It's so awful it swings back around to funny. Yeah. Okay. I know there's a lying figure over here. So let's take you out. Oh! Oh! Okay. This is very cinematic and I love it. I gotta be honest. And there's that female scream who I was expecting to hear sooner. That's just in the ambient background of the prison for some reason. Come on. Where are you at? Oh, I saw you on the back wall. This game has amazing timing. Exactly. Holy shit. The way that just like the creatures move and that the AI works, where I very rarely feel like taken out of the moment. Like the like immersion is a word that gets thrown around a lot, but yeah, the immersion, like I don't feel like oh those are just video game enemies that are dropping off a ceiling. That feels like oh these are creatures that are trying to kill me. Okay. I might just I feel like there's another one out there somewhere. We saw another one, didn't we? Yeah, there's a little squeal and the music's kicking up and James is pulling out his gun. Where are you? Ah, skittering around the back again. Where are you? There you are. It's just running around. Oh, fuck. Something else behind me? Ah, jeez. There you are. Okay. I think there might have been one more I saw over in the corner here. Yeah, I think there's one more. Where are you? Oh, there you are. Gotcha. Cleo says, yeah, I've played these areas multiple times, and it's generally a different experience each time. Like, the mannequins have been coming for me on this run when where I expected them to lurk. Yeah. Very good game design, very good creature design. Okay, is that the way out? I think that's the way out, so let's not go there yet. I gotta explore the rest of these cells. Get me some shotgun ammo. Strange photo, 4 months to go. 4 months to go with a picture of it looks like a hospital bed, or it could be Mary's bed, or it's both superimposed. I kind of get the vibe that it's both. Like the headboard looks like Mary's bed at home, and you've got the curtain in the background for like their room at home, but the wall and the footboard look more like the tiled wall of the hospital with the footboard of a hospital bed. So yeah, I think that is intentionally blurring the lines, literally. So 4 months to go. 4 months until she's dead. Who knows? Okay. Exploring more cells. That's where we came from. We got the stuff in here. We got the stuff in here. I think we got the stuff in here. Is that another creature? Oh, there is another creature. I just look in here. Yeah. Okay. I just want to be thorough. Okay, now we can exit and leave this klaxon behind, hopefully. Bullets. Only 256 bullets? How will I ever survive? Okay, here's that final note I was talking about. Execution DR88 report. Prisoner E662. Age 23. Sex male. Method electrocution. Witnesses 0. Note to medical staff. During last night's execution, the prisoner, assumed to have been disabled, simply stood up and approached the chair without any assistance. From now on, take utmost care when reviewing the prisoner's medical history. Guards need to be made aware of how capable the prisoners are in order to avoid any incidents. And what the fuck does that mean? Again, I think it's just that extra detail to push it into... Wait, what? Because we saw a picture of the guy in a wheelchair as a child, so you'd assume that he had been that way his whole life. But something strange happened. Okay, so did we also get the key to the rifle cabinet? Oh no, it's in the next room, isn't it? Yeah. Where the question mark is. Got some health. Is the lockers open? No. Nothing in there. Rifle ammo. And then there's the key in the rifle cabinet. So this was the extra key that the initial note was saying, like, hey, go get the extra key so that we can have the rifle before whatever inmate stole it gets off with it. Okay, so maybe the inmate that killed or did something to the guard carrying the rifle cabinet key wasn't the one who went to death row. It's just this key was in death row. Yeah, so we got a story about a guy in a wheelchair who was moved, I assume was moved from A6, was the one in A6 who was moved to death row. Again, on a mechanical level, they probably included that note to say, like, hey, that's where you're supposed to be going next. But, in case you were like, oh, am I supposed to use the weights to, like, get to, which door am I supposed to do? But do we think A6 is meant to be the guy in the wheelchair? Is it meant to be someone else? The guy in the wheelchair, that seems like a pretty cut and dry story. I don't know. Cut and dry and how not cut and dry it is. It's like, he's in a wheelchair and he just got up. Okay, sure. Ooh, the Little Baroness. A little bit of Silent Hill history. In the center of Silent Hill lies the town's major tourist attraction, Toluca Lake. But there's a darker side to the scenic, beautiful reservoir. What may seem... I wasn't going to do the Rod Serling voice because I felt like, oh, well, that's my director voice. But now I feel like I got to do the Rod Serling voice because this is kind of Twilight Zone-y. In the center of Silent Hill lies the town's major tourist attraction, Toluca Lake. But there's a darker side to this scenic, beautiful reservoir. What may seem a bread-and-butter local ghost story you've heard time and time again, in this case, rings surprisingly true. One fateful, fog-bound November day in 1918, a tourist cruiser called Little Baroness has set sail, never to dock again. Newspaper articles reporting the event contain no details of the ship's disappearance. Despite an extensive police search, neither a single fragment of the ship, nor the remains of passengers or the crew have ever been recovered. But in 1939, an even more bizarre incident has taken place. Many pages are missing, torn out. Many corpses rest at the bottom of this lake. Their bony hands stretch out toward the boats that pass overhead. Perhaps they reach for their comrades, lying in wait in the Twilight Zone. Ba-na-na-na-na. It strikes me each time I read this how, like, there is the kind of, like, spooky vibe of the initial part of this article, but it has kind of the feeling of, like, oh, this is like a Silent Hill ghost tour type thing. It's fun and whatever. And then this last paragraph kind of goes a little harder. I don't know if that was intentional, but it feels like it goes harder, where it's like, many corpses rest at the bottom of this lake. Their bony hands stretch out toward the boats that pass overhead. Perhaps they reach for their comrades. Like, it gets poetic in a way. Let's look at those pictures again. Yeah, I don't know if 1939 is meant to be... So, I'm not sure what happens in 1939. I don't know if it's referenced in one of the other mainline games. The Silent Hill arcade game takes place on the Little Baroness and explores more of the story. And I was reading a topic, another thread on Reddit today, and people were like, is the arcade game even canon? And the events of the arcade game are referenced in the Silent Hill Historical Society website, which was like an actual, like, kind of ARG website they created to help promote the Silent Hill 2 remake. So, as far as we know, and, like, I think someone also in that Reddit thread said that, like, Ito and Sato, maybe, like, other members of Team Silent have referenced the events in the Silent Hill arcade game as being canon in regards to, like, the Little Baroness and stuff. Yeah. Maybe I gotta watch a playthrough of the Silent Hill arcade game again. Amat also mentions, also the tenses are odd. Yeah, specifically, one fateful fog-bound November day in 1918, a tourist cruiser called Little Baroness has set sail never to dock again. I think it feels like the text is trying to be kind of like in media res right there. Like they're saying, like, if you're reading this at a later point in time, let's take you back there to 1918, where the Little Baroness is set sail never to dock in. Newspaper articles reporting the event contain no details. And then, but in 1939, even more bizarre incidents. It's almost like it's trying to have that immediacy of experiencing things in the present tense, as if to say, like, let's go back there together. Or it's just being fucking weird. Yeah, and same for the 1939 incident. It's just kind of interesting. Yeah. Just another little way to twist things a little further and make them a little more unnerving. That's the secret word tonight, the prize word. Okay. So we've completed Death Row, and we are now back in the main area. And we can get the rifle. Cleo says possibly that sense of times repeating and timelines collapsing, everything happening at once in some ways. Yeah, it also kind of speaks to that. Let's get that rifle and not use it at all until a final boss battle. So it's about 9:30. I know the next area takes you to the second floor. I can't remember exactly what the story is there, or if it's just, hey, you're going to be in a claustrophobic area with mannequins skittering around all the barred areas. Get fucked. But honestly, this feels like it might be a good place to stop for the night. Between this one and the next section. I don't know that I want to try to like squeeze the next section in a half hour. How are you guys feeling? Because that also means like I'm leaving a little bit more of the prison for June 28th, which since we didn't get through the entire prison tonight, I think I am going to stream on... It is the 28th, right? The next Wednesday. I might be thinking way too far ahead. 25th. June 25th. Okay. That is the next Wednesday that I will be streaming. And yeah, I think I am going to stream that night and complete the prison area. Cleo says, I keep thinking of the motel room where James feels spooked, and it implies that Silent Hill 3 might be happening in a different plane at the same time. Yeah, that's true. There are moments like that where I wonder how much of it is meant to be like part, like in situ. Is that the phrase I want to use? Or like diegetic, like it is actually part of the story of Silent Hill 2, and how much of it is supposed to just be like a fun reference. But yeah, I think it's fair to, if we're taking it at face value, and we're not, and we're trusting that, like, okay, the stuff that we see happen in this game happened. Yeah, I think that the stuff in the motel room, like, does suggest that, yeah, because it's got Douglas's hat there, and there's the order symbol on the wall. The order symbol on the wall, like, that could be a reference to anything, honestly, because that symbol isn't there on the wall in that room when Douglas and Heather are there in Silent Hill 3, but Douglas's hat is the thing that makes it, like, what time period are we in? But yeah, I think this is actually, did I save it? No. I think this is where I'm gonna end the stream for tonight. And I will plan on completing the rest of the prison on June 25th, 2 weeks from today. So yeah, June 25th, 7 o'clock Eastern, same bat time, same bat channel. We'll be coming back to the prison. I like that we're taking some time with it, because I really didn't want to try to squeeze 4 areas into one 3-hour session. And yeah, also Cleo may have to skip the next one. So it's one that, like, there are definitely things I'd love for you to be here for with that one, Cleo. But we talked about how the one after that's the session after that, where we get to the labyrinth and all the stuff with Angela. I think uh, it'd be good to have you in chat so we can have that discussion. Um, but yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you guys for hanging out. Next Silent Hill 2 stream will be 2 weeks from today, June 25th, 7 o'clock Eastern. We'll be completing the prison. I'll mention once again tomorrow night, if you're not watching this after the fact, June 12th at 7 p.m. on twitch.tv/Mosaic Mind Band. We're going to be trying out a live stream performance for the band from my basement, which is where our practice area. And we'll see if like my Wi-Fi holds up, and we'll see how that stream goes. If you're interested in it, listening or seeing a live performance from us, and you are not in the central New York area, or for whatever other reason you just want to check it out, that'll be happening tomorrow night. And we can definitely use some people in the chat to let us know how the stream looks, how it sounds, if there are any things we should do differently. And if you're interested in supporting us, we'll be posting our Ko-fi link so that we can help support our upcoming debut album, which is all recorded. It just needs to get mixed, and then we need to duplicate it. We need to get all that fun stuff before it's done. But yeah, I'll post that link in the chat one more time. Twitch.tv/Mosaic Mind Band. If you're able to watch, would love to see you guys there in the chat. And if not, I'm sure we will be doing more in the future. Yeah, thanks again everyone for watching. Have a good rest of your week. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, peace out.